Our crappy culture. Where do you get that music? What is that?
It's good.
It's good. It's crappy culture music. So let me just start off talking about, briefly about Megyn Kelly, okay? I mean, Megyn Kelly, some people hated her. You know, she was never a reliable right-winger. She was always but she had a reputation for being a hard, sardonic interviewer. I have seen her take people apart on her show. She was a tough, she was a tough interview and all this stuff. She gets hired by the mainstream media. What is today, CBS or NBC or where is she?
I think it's NBC.
Okay, NBC. She gets $23 million. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, NBC. She gets $23 million contract, which is more than most of their big people get, right? And she goes out and her ratings are absolutely dying. She is just dying because they wouldn't let her do the stuff that she was doing, basically, and they tried to kind of make her more mainstream. Now she has been reduced to having more popular figures. This is a woman, I do not know how to pronounce her name because I never watch this kind of stuff. It's Hoda Kotb, is that Hoda Kotb? Copy? Copy, okay. She comes on her show, and this is the segment where they're trying to make Megyn more likable.
You know what I like to do to feel good? I mean, you know when you want to be in a really that too.
I think we do know. We know the answer.
The answer is if it's not kids, it's not the booze. Sometimes it's music.
You are a big music person. Oh yeah. Oh, look what's happening.
Come on. I know you want it.
Oh, I do.
Wait, come here. You do it.
Accept it, Gus. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. What are you looking at? Yeah.
Oh, y'all can get up. Come on.
We'll be right back with more Hoda and Vino.
Okay, that's sad, right? That's sad, but it is indicative of a bigger point that has to do with our crappy culture. You know, because Bret Stephens went over to the New York Times. He hated Trump so much that he basically voted for Hillary Clinton, left the Wall Street Journal, went over to the New York Times, and now he is being kind of like twisted around. And every time he says something that the New York Times readers don't like, it becomes a big scandal. If he doesn't sign on 100% to global warming hysteria and all this stuff. John Nolte, our pal, the Noltenator, who is now formerly of the Daily Wire, but is now back at Breitbart, he wrote a piece about the NFL. And about how the NFL came to believe that this false reality that the left creates, that the country is left-wing. This is what Nolte says. He says, thanks to George W. Bush's terrible second term, two unbelievably awful Republican opponents in John McCain and Mitt Romney, not to mention the charisma and impressive political skills as the most left-wing senator in the country, Barack Obama won 2 national elections and did so by impressive margins. The problem is that America's so-called smart people misread these victories, and by smart people I am, of course, sarcastically referring to Democrats, the imbecilic Republican establishment, and the corrupt national media, all of whom deluded themselves into believing that Obama's victory meant that the country had not just moved to the left, but to the far left. I have seen this again and again in publishing, in TV. They will not speak to the Trump voter because they believe he is an anomaly. They believe he is a dying beast. They believe he's an idiot. They believe he's a fool. And I'm not talking about the guy who says everything Trump does is great or anything like that. I'm talking about the guy who says, you know, I wrote a piece this weekend where I said, you know, I don't like Trump's personal style. I don't like the bullying. I don't like the big mouthism. But when I look at him, the great judicial nominations, the taming of the regulatory state, the restoration of the rule of law at the border, leaving the Paris Accord, the annihilation of ISIS, you know, the guy's not doing a bad job. He's getting a lot of stuff done, and if he starts to get some laws passed, that is going to help as well. This illusion that you have to take Megyn Kelly off Fox News, but not let her be Fox News. The thing that the Fox News does so successfully can't survive. What they think is it can't survive out of the Fox News bubble. But they don't understand. Fox News is not in the bubble. They're in the bubble. Most people want to see people see their sports figures stand for the national anthem, for instance. Most people don't want to hear George Clooney tell them who they should have voted for as a Midwestern mechanic, because George Clooney doesn't know about the life of a Midwestern mechanic, and a Midwestern mechanic may make better decisions about what he needs politically than George Clooney. These guys are living so in the bubble that they think it's the world, and they destroy people like Megyn Kelly, who reach for the golden apple of mainstream approval and find that they are not going to be allowed to be who they are because the mainstream people do not believe in them, and they destroy them. They destroy them. It's just not worth it. We let them live in the bubble. The bubble will get smaller and smaller and smaller. We here at the Daily Wire are the future. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is the Andrew Klavan Show. Rob Long is going to be with us tomorrow. Don't miss it. And stay tuned for Michael Knowles. I'll see you tomorrow.